Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing some French polygel nails. This is what they turned out like. I was so happy with the turnout, so let me get into it and show you how I did it. So I'm first starting with just pushing back my cuticles. You want to do as much prep as you can because that's what's going to keep the nails on for as long as possible. So I'm switching over to this cuticle bit so that I can get all the dead cuticle off, and this is sped up so it looks like I'm going harder than I am. You want to use it on a fairly slow speed. I do like a medium slow, like it's cooking, right? Medium low. No, medium slow. Sorry, that cracks me up. So yeah, just a fairly slow speed, and then just go around gently and get up all the dead skin. You're not trying to hit the nail plate, you're trying to get the dead skin. So just go very gently. And then what I usually do is I have it on forward, and I go on the right side of the nail to about 3/4 of the way to the left. Then after all 10 nails are done, I reverse it, and then come back from left back to right. And on this round, I actually did it twice in the forward motion from right to left, because after I did my other hand, I just realized I had a lot of cuticle buildup because it had been a while since I had done a full set or a fill. So I just went over again and cleaned it up a little bit more. So now it's in the reverse setting, and I'm going from left to right. Now once the cuticles are all cleaned up, I use a mandrel with an arbor band on a very, very slow speed, and I go around the cuticle edges once more just to further clean it up. And this is where I'm hitting the actual nail plate, because with that cuticle bit, like I said, you're focusing on the skin, not the nail plate. You want to not really hit the nail plate with that, otherwise you can really thin out the nail plate. Ask me how I know. Okay. So then I use the arbor band, go around the cuticle and sidewalls, and then buff through the whole nail. Now I'm using just the round ball bit for the cuticle, the dead cuticle, just to clean up. Instead of using like a cuticle nipper, I use this bit because I find with the cuticle nipper, I get a lot of like free hanging pieces of skin, and if there's anything hanging, like I'm biting that thing off and then I end up bleeding. But since I've been using these Russian manicure bits, which is that set that I had for this and the cuticle bit that I used, I'll make sure I link it below because it's a really good set that I got for pretty cheap on Amazon. But since I've been using the ball bit to get off all that dead skin, I haven't had any of the little skin bits lifting or anything. So my fingers look a lot better. They're thankful for it. So this one, again, just a medium-low speed and very gentle, not really any pressure. You can use a little bit of pressure, but just do very gentle. And also I go left and right with this as well. You can see I'm flipping my hand every which way because there are pieces of skin that come off in one direction or the other. So if you go over it like 2 to 3 times and it's not wanting to come off, switch the direction or flip your hand around so that the bit's hitting it the opposite direction, and then it'll just come right off. And also you want to make sure you're not hitting your nail plate when you're using this bit. Now just taking some alcohol and my nail brush and cleaning everything up. Before I go in with my dehydrator and primer, I do push my cuticles back one more time. And this is the dehydrator. I go over all the nails twice with this. And of course, guys, everything will be listed down in the description. So if you have any questions about what I'm using, check the description. I link basically everything unless there's an item I can't find online. This is the ASP Extra Strength Primer, and I just use the primer once. These worms I got from that Born Pretty haul, and I really like them. They worked really well. This first one, I put the tab on the back, but I ended up not doing that on any other ones, and I just kind of use them to seal off the bottoms. So just apply the base gel and make sure you really work it into the nails before curing. And I'm starting with light pink Polygel from MAKARTT. I'm going to lay this down as my base before I move in with the other colors that I'm going to use. So these bottles from MAKARTT, they're really small and I'd used them a few times already. So I knew I wanted to use natural pink for this look, but I didn't have enough to make that thick enough to get that French look. So like I said, I went in with the light pink first and then went over top of that with the natural pink and the white. Now this was my first time ever doing a French look with Polygel, so this first nail was kind of an experiment, and I got better the more nails that I did. So now I'm just using that natural pink color to do the natural nail and create that reversed smile line so that I can go in with the white later and create the tip. One thing I did find with this set is that I made the smile lines basically too far out, so once my fill happens, those smile lines are going to be so far out it's going to be funny looking, if that makes sense. So I'll have to cover it with a color when I do my fill. So you just want to make sure when you're doing French like this that you're keeping that smile line right at your natural smile line or just slightly in front. And then once I had that cured for 60 seconds, I'm just using a 180 grit file to clean up and perfect that smile line so it's nice and neat. And now I'm just using that bright white and going in to create the French tip. Now this nail, guys, don't judge me, okay? Do not judge me. It ends up being pretty chunky after I get all this product on. I filed it down so much. It could have been much thinner, but like I said, it was my first nail doing French, so I mean it turned out, so hey, end result's what matters, right? Okay. And so this white, guys, it has a different consistency than the other colors. It's like softer. You definitely don't want to use as much alcohol, but you need some on your brush. Otherwise, it sticks like crazy. I don't know, it was just more difficult to work with. I mean, it worked and I like it. It was just, there was a learning curve to it, I would say, for sure. And you could see I had already done a layer and then I had to do a second layer because it wasn't thick enough. And if you're confused why I went over that smile line that I created with the white, you'll see after my set is done that once you file that down, that smile line is there and it is crisp and perfect. It looks really nice. So that's the way to do the reverse technique. So I just formed my next nail and going in again with the light pink. And so for this one is where I learned I should extend that light pink all the way to the length that I'm gonna have the nail in the end, because that way I'm able to pinch the nail after I've cured it for a few seconds, get a really nice C-curve, and use less of both colors. I've got that foundation built, but it also helps because when you've got that thin layer underneath, I can take the form off after I pinch and cure the nail. So you'll see that here in just a second. You'll also see that once I get this layer laid down, I only cure it for 5 seconds before I go in and pinch it. That is because it is such a thin amount. If I went for 10 seconds, it would be too hard to pinch it correctly. So I cure it for 5 seconds, pinch it, cure it for another 5 seconds, pinch it again, then do the full 50 seconds. And I say 50 because it had already been cured for 10 seconds, so you only need the 50 left to get to that full 60. Math, yay! So here you can just see how easy it was to take the form off, and now I can work on the nail so much easier than having that form there. And again, just going through and creating the smile line area. So for sure, the next time I do a French set like this in Polygel, I would definitely go thinner with my product. I learned as I went along, so this was only my second nail I'd ever done with this technique, and by the time I got to the pinky, it was definitely thinner, but I would definitely do that, probably even thinner than I went on the pinky. Learned a lot with this set for sure. And you definitely, even though you need to go a lot thinner with the first pink color that you use, or the first whichever color you use for that smile line area and nail bed, you definitely need it to be thick enough that, one, you can file it afterwards so that you get a crisp line, and two, that you can go over it with the white and still have enough product there that you can file it down to get that smooth, crisp line. Going over it with the white ensures that the white really adheres to that pink really well, because if you just kind of butt it up against the pink, there could be some areas that it didn't attach well, and then you'll have a gap when you file it later. So going over it with the white ensures that it touches all the areas well, and even though you're going to file away the part that's on top of the pink, it doesn't matter, because that smoothing over motion and the packing on top of it motion, it just creates a really nice seal all around. So again, just be sure that you really crisp up that smile line to exactly how you need it to be, and then you can go in with your white. And even by the second nail, you can see how much easier it was for me to work with this white. Like I said, there's a learning curve with it, but it's easy to work with once you understand that it's a different texture. I had never used this white on any other looks before, so this was my first time using it, along with the technique being new. So, like I said, yeah, just lots of learning in this video. I hope you guys enjoy seeing me make some mistakes and learn. And I hope it's helpful to you guys, that I can give you some good tips and teach you something so that you can have a better first time. So I only just showed you those two nails because I didn't feel like you needed to see me do all of them. And now I'm going in with this 100 grit file just to get my sidewalls to where I need them to be before I go in with my E-file. This file is like a jumbo file. It's like 1.5 times the size of a regular file. It's huge, guys, and I love it. I freaking love it. I got it at Sally's, and so if I can find it on their site, I'll link it for you, because it's a great file. Really stiff so that it doesn't bend. Got me some really straight lines. My sidewalls and my free edge look great, so I'm really happy with it. So I just go through and clean up all my sidewalls and free edges before I go in with any filing, and I do that to both hands. So now that I've gotten those edges and sidewalls neatened up, I am using I believe it's a medium grit carbide bit, and I'm just gonna go over and file down the top of my nails and reveal that crisp smile line. I am gonna switch bits here in a bit. Sorry, that was that was weird. I'm gonna switch bits here in just a moment, because you have to use these on a high speed, and they do really well for removing product, but I didn't feel like I had enough control to really shape this nail. So maybe as my technique develops and I get better, I'll feel differently about it, but just know you can use a bit like this if you're comfortable to take down the product and reveal the smile line. I am gonna switch here to an arbor band, and it works beautifully for shaping and revealing that smile line. And you also want to make sure that you get around those cuticles and sidewalls really well. This is going to seal in the product and also keep it away from your skin so that you can make sure it's not touching anywhere and you're not going to have any lifting that way. One other thing I would have done here before going around my cuticles and everything, I would have pushed them back one more time, because I don't know if this is like this for everybody, because I've had some clients where it didn't seem necessary, but for me, my cuticles, like, they come down within seconds, it feels like. So before I do my cuticles in the future, I'm going to push back my cuticle right then, just to make sure that I've got a nice clear line between my product and my cuticle. You'll also notice as I'm filing my nails here, I continuously am going through and adjusting the speed on my machine, because you want to have it up at a high enough speed that you can get the bulk of the product down really well. But then when you go around the cuticles, it doesn't need to be as fast, because it's a lot thinner of an area and you don't want to cut right through it and end up hitting your nail plate and damaging or weakening your nail plate. So I'm just changing the speed as needed. So when you're filing, you just want to make sure that your apex has enough strength and product that it's going to keep your nails very strong, but then your free edge should be about the width of a business card to a credit card. A lot of people think that if your nails are that thin, they're going to break. As long as you have the strength in the apex, then they won't. And I included this clip for you guys. My kids got home from school and they needed a snack, so cut them up some pizza. My son's 12, so he warmed it up and then I just cut it for him. So, little snack. I just thought that was funny that I caught it on camera. Decided to keep it in for you. So after I'm done with the e-file, I do use a 180 grit file to just go back through, smooth it all over, and perfect the shape even further. This is another file that I got at Sally's, and it's a really good one. It's one of my favorites. My favorite is their banana-shaped file. It's the best. It's so easy to get around the cuticles. But my Sally's has been out of stock for a while, so I tried this one, and it's beautiful. So I did a square nail with these ones, so you just want to make sure your sidewall comes out straight. You have a nice thin cuticle, again a nice thin free edge, and enough strength in the apex. Now with square nails, normally the goal is that once you get to the apex area, like it's thin at the cuticle and then kind of comes up a bit to that apex area and then goes straight out to the tip. If I had done that, my free edge would have been too thick, so mine was more of a arched shape. I just went through and cleaned it up all again with alcohol. And now I'm going in with my top coat. This is my favorite part, guys. Favorite part, because you get to see the finished product. After I put on the top coat on each nail, I give it a flat cure for 5 seconds just to keep it in place. If you have a thicker top coat, then you might not need to do this, but I like to freeze them just to be safe, okay? Probably don't need to. I like to do it to be safe. I'd rather do it and have my nails perfect than not do it and have it hit my cuticles or sidewalls and wish I had, so. They turned out great, so after doing the top coat on all of them, go for a full 60-second cure, and then I'm using some cuticle oil, really massaging that all in. And I do 2 layers of cuticle oil as well. My cuticles like really drink it up, especially this one. This brand, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's a good one. They like it. That's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think down below, and I will have another video coming up for you shortly where I add some detail to this. Don't forget to subscribe and hit like, and I'll see you next time. Bye!